Hi everyone, I've had another cancelled session today, so I'm sneaking a little bit of fishing. Last week we were on a river because we'd had lots of heavy frosts. This week we've had much milder weather. The temperature's going up to about 11-12 degrees. Still only early February, but with that we've had a fair bit of rain. So the rivers are consequently very cold. All that cold water has gone into the rivers and made them very coloured. So I'm down on a stillwater pond today, and it's only the second time I've ever fished it. I'm just going to fish very lightly. Probably going to throw that in to kick-start things off. Fishing here is pretty much all roach and perch. In a match on Sunday, only one roach came out in the whole match, so this might be the shortest video in the world. I've chosen this corner because that warm wind's blowing over into it. I've got a nice ripple on the surface. The water's crystal clear, so the idea of using the whip as opposed to a pole is that when the fish look up, they're not going to see my pole hovering above them. There's loads of cormorants around, but this club has put some nets across the lake to stop the cormorants from being able to land, and it's proven to be really effective. It's quite an interesting way of dealing with cormorants. It's a method I've not seen before. And they've also got the obligatory mannequins with guns, which look quite threatening actually. So accuracy is going to be absolutely critical. I don't want my float moving around in this wind. I'm using the trunk of a tree reflection to make sure that my float doesn't move. Not many ponds are left like this. They're all stuffed full of carp, aren't they? But this one isn't. So I don't have to worry about the whip being smashed up. There are one or two in here, but not many. They are full 6 metres. Quite ungainly, but it means I can effectively fish, well, 11 metres perhaps, 11 and a half, because the rig's as long as the pole. Oh, the other thing I've done is use fluorocarbon for that first metre on the whip, just to help it sink. The disadvantage of using a whip is that the float can blow all over the place, and sometimes it's best to use small wagglers. Woodpeckers having a good old yaffle. Perhaps they know I'm not going to catch. I do like fishing in the winter. I like the extra challenge, and also I like the fact that all the furred and feathered animals out there have to continue to feed. You get to see them a lot closer. It's a matter of life or death for them, isn't it? I love these whips. Even a little fish, look how much bend it puts in the rod. It's so much more forgiving than elastic. You can feel the temperature of the water. It's freezing. Beautifully coloured, plump perch. Makes me wonder what else is in here. Half an hour in, all I've had is that perch, and I've bounced out a couple of fish as well. I've put in a couple more gobstopper sizes of breadcrumb to no avail. I think those bites that I missed were perch, bony mouth, size 22 hook. So what I think I'll do is just come up off the bottom by 10 centimetres and maybe fish a small piece of brandling, or start putting a few pinkies in over the top. Either way, I'm going to come up off the bottom, see if that makes a difference. A lot of people take the mick out of these, but I think they're cool. Easy feeders. Feeding with one hand. Just hold it like that, hold it against you, and fire your bait out like that. Oh, that was a bite. That's worked straight away. I expect it's a perch. Swing this one in. It is a perch. Shallow up's paid off again. The roach this time, it's nice. The thing I really love about pinkies is that you buy a pint, keep them on the garage floor, in a bait box obviously, and they last weeks when it's cold. A pint of maggots will last probably about 4 or 5 days on the garage floor in winter before they turn and go smelly. Yeah, pinkies, they stay good for ages. Obviously if you're loose feeding them, as I have been with the catapult, they don't fill the fish up so much, do they? Because they're smaller, about a third of the size. Something else I'm much more careful about on clear waters like this is staying still. not standing up to get nets or bait or faffing around like that. Just staying sat down and reasonably still does make a difference. Fish number 4. Smallest fish of the day, but welcome one nonetheless. Another little roach. It's nice the roach are feeding. It did slow down after I caught that first one because I got overconfident with a snapper that I am, and put a couple of more balls of groundbait out. Only very small ones, but knocked it dead. Little roach, off you go, bud. Now, if you're wondering why I'm using the nets, because I'm toasting warm and that water is freezing cold. If I touch that fish, I'll probably kill it. So the smaller the fish, all the more need for the net, because the heat transference is much quicker in smaller animals. It reminds me of Charles Jardine on a Fishing for Schools day shouting at a forest school teacher for picking up a newt. It was almost the beginning of World War III because the forest school person thought they knew so much better. I am occasionally asked what happened with me in Fishing for Schools, and it's not a lot to say really, other than that I had a really good innings, introduced loads of schools and coaches and coaching methods, and it's a mutual benefit. You know, I learnt a lot from Fishing for Schools as well, but it all boiled down to the cost of delivery. I started to put my foot down on people, too many coaches attending for sessions, and I probably put my point across without the required tact. Upset both parties, I think. You can work a swim as hard as you like, but if the fish don't come to your bait, you just need to change spots. I've just fished a different line further out and fishing the full 5 metres out into the deeper water. Picked up a fish straight away. Only a roach. Oh, 5. It's funny, just lifting the float up, bouncing the float a little bit can entice a bite. Just had another little perch. I've got a sneaky feeling these fish might be really high up on the water because it is considerably warmer now than it was overnight. The surface layers are going to warm up quicker, and there's quite a few midges about, so there's things coming off the water. So I'm going to shut her right up to just a couple of foot deep and give that a bash, spraying out a few maggots. I've got a feeling it might just catch a few roach. You do have to work hard for your bites in winter, and it beats the hell out of sitting in a bivvy waiting for a bite that's never going to come. And those poor old pike, they get so much attention these days, it's nice to leave them alone. What have we got here? Not what I expected at all. Looks like the perch one's getting on the action as well, chasing perhaps some of the smaller rudd and roach. He's found my pinky, another plump little perch. You really do have to be on the fish to catch them. They're all shoaled up in the winter in one spot. Until you find those fish, you can pile in as much ground bait as you like and refine your depth that you're fishing at as much as you like, but you're not going to budge. It's not a nice fish. Hook's just fallen out in the net. Put that down there for a second. Another nice roach. Lovely. I'm having to use the full 6 metres of this whip and wait for the wind to be behind me. If it's in my face, I can't quite get the distance. Straight away that's gone under, I missed that one. Again, that's another nice fish. Feels even bigger than the last one, but I doubt it is. Everything feels big on a whip. You wonder why everyone's catching huge perch on Facebook. It's because they've learnt to hold them without showing their fingers. Massive! Yeah, they're in the upper layers. Isn't that interesting? Well, I think it is anyway. Rudd, an old Anglo-Saxon word for red. There he is. Oh, golden rudd. Species number 3. He just shed the hook. As I say to the kids, you always know it's a rudd because his bottom lip does this. So you can get the food off the surface nice and quickly. That's quite pleasing in a sad, geeky sort of way, having sat there for half an hour struggling to get bites. Something a bit different. Fish out on the ripple, up on the surface. Spraying maggots out. Fishing about 10 or 11 metres out where those fish feel safe. See if we can get another one. That's a really nice, pleasant surprise, that change of tactics. Never think of these as a winter fish. It goes to show that when the surface warms up, the insects take off. The rudd go on the feed. That's a nice one, that. Happy to catch these all day long. Oh, it's almost my 2 hours up as well, so nice finish, isn't it? Lovely. Wonder how big they get in here. Might just come back and fly fish it. It reminds me of the Duchess of Cambridge, the rudd, because they've got no top lip really. Pretty fish though. This has turned out to be a really pleasant surprise actually. I'm terrible for changing methods. I can be stubborn as a donkey, stubborn as a mule. But just changing to fishing up in the water and scattering the pinkies out over the top. Catching better fish more consistently. This time it's a nice roach. Yeah, well, I'm happy as a proverbial pig catching these. And just like my last video, just as I've got the method sorted and figured out, time to go home because it was only a 2-hour session. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed that. This pond reminds me of my old hunting ground as a kid, Keston Ponds in Kent. Clear water, spring fed, where you'd be pleased to catch 1 or 2 fish in a whole day. I think there's a few tench lurking around to try and target later on when the season kicks in. Yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back. Thanks for watching, and if you do watch it, please add a comment or question below, and if you subscribe then you're helping me try and get this channel up and running for Fishwish. And in Fishwish I go out and help young or disadvantaged people get into fishing, so every little sub helps. Oh, and also I need a hater if anyone wants to put anything nasty below. That'd be brilliant. Thanks.